What's up guys, TJ here. Just wanted to quickly kind of put a short video together to talk a little bit about kick drums and some of the stigma behind how to mic them and some things that have worked for me in the past as far as your resonant head, whether you even need it, the porthole size, and this and that and the other. So without really overcomplicating things and trying to keep this thing short, let's get right into it. Okay, so for the longest time, I've used kind of medium-sized kick drums. The reference series Pearl kit that I've played for years and years and years came with a 22 by, I think, 18-inch kick drum. It's slightly behind me, out of frame. There it is, on the floor. And for the longest time, you know, as far back as I can remember, every EMAD reso head that I would put on it would have the small little porthole for your kick mic, you know, small enough that you could get a blanket in there or some kind of dampening and all that stuff. And then as I kind of settled into my studio here at home and started to do a lot more home recording, I started with completely removing the reso head, mostly so I could have full control and access to place mics inside the kick drum. And I found that even though there wasn't a reso head on the back of the kick, the sub-kick mic, for those of you who don't know what that is, I'll explain that in a second, did a really great job of picking up plenty of low-end resonant frequencies from the batter head, just normally. So that was pretty cool. But then I got turned on to, you know, some, I don't really know how else to describe it, but some of the older style reso heads that have kind of the larger center spaced porthole head. And I still get a little bit of extra oomph and resonance from having another reso head, but I found that having a larger center hole to get in and out of the kick drum has been really, really helpful. So anymore, I will buy reso heads that don't have the porthole, and I'll cut my own. So there's a really cool tool that kind of works very similarly to like a compass, and R. David R. has stuff on his channel, you know, about how to do this, how to find the center of a head, and how to, you know, cut it with a different tool. But the tool I found, it's super cheap on Amazon. I'll put a link in the description where you can pick one up. But I was able to cut on this 18-inch kick that I've been subbing out and kind of having some fun with for the past couple of weeks. I got a really nice center cut hole in the reso head so that I could get mics in there. You're eating bacon. Jealous. So with that, I wanted to talk very quickly about the mics that I use and how I mic my kick drums. So for the past, I would say 3 to 4 years, exclusively, I'll use 3 mics on the kick. I have 2 inside the kick drum and then 1 on the outside. So I'm gonna do my best to try to show you with this camera, but it's kind of a tight squeeze because it is a smaller drum. So let's flip this around and see what we can do. Here is my 18-inch Pearl Drums Decade Maple kick drum. So what I was talking about by a sub kick, that's what this guy is here. Yamaha makes a really, really cool one that's built into the shell of a drum, but all it basically is a speaker. I'll try to turn this over. It's basically a speaker that has had its polarity reversed so that it actually picks up sound instead of putting it out. So what this does, or what it's designed to do, is to capture the low-end sub-frequencies that come from your kick drum that, used in conjunction with a batter mic, it provides a pretty well-rounded image of the kick drum. So I'm going to try to scoot the camera into kind of looking in the center here. So as you can kind of see, the microphone that's on the bottom of the kick right there is a Shure Beta 91, and I found that that does a fantastic job of picking up a really defined attack from the kick drum. It's actually a really well-balanced microphone that you could get by with it just on its own. And then on top of that is a AKG D112, and I have that kind of pointed, angled down, kind of towards the rim or like the footboard of the pedal. Don't ask me why. It's a technique that I kind of picked up from some other engineers, and I found that it works really well. But the one thing you have to be careful of is you have to have them placed almost directly on top of each other to make sure that they are phase aligned, because the last thing you want is to have, you know, multiple mics on the same sound source and they're out of phase and not picking up the signal right, and it's just going to cause you all kinds of problems once you've got everything recorded. Okay, so that's it. Super quick, just wanted to kind of run this down because I've gotten a lot of questions about kick mic sounds and you know, a lot of questions on Instagram, DMs, things like that. So hopefully that kind of explains the situation a little bit better. Those techniques will work on pretty much any kick drum. And again, try stuff out, experiment, see what works for you, see what doesn't work for you. This is just some information that has worked for me in the past, and hopefully it'll help some of you out there. So any questions, please drop them in a comment below. I'd love to keep the conversation going. Thank you so much for stopping in and watching. I really appreciate it. If you have not subscribed, please do so if you have not already. Click that like if you think this was cool and you think other people should see it. I also appreciate that as well. And we'll see you on the next one.